This video is brought to you by my latest book, How to Play Melodic Rock Lead Guitar, a comprehensive guide to doing exactly that, playing melodic rock lead guitar. This is not just some collection of scale patterns and tabs, although you do get plenty of those, but you also get an entire chapter on how to come up with your own licks, as well as video content, tutorials and demonstrations, loads of jam tracks, and all the way through I'm encouraging you to expand your fretboard knowledge and showing you how you can think in a more musical and melodic way. Check out the link in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. It's just a little video today where I'm kind of going to be thinking out loud a little bit about, the future and the direction of rock music. Let's start off by asking a question. What do all of the following bands have in common? Humble Pie, Thin Lizzy, Blackfoot, Molly Hatchet, Dr. Feelgood, Kansas and Lynyrd Skynyrd. Well, what they all have in common is that they're all what I think of as Triggers Broom bands. Now, for those of you outside the UK, you might not get that reference. There was a massively popular sitcom TV show in the UK that ran for years and years and years called Only Fools and Horses. And one of the characters was called Trigger. There he is there, the guy holding the broom. And he was often the butt of the joke in the show. And he swore that he'd had the same broom for 20 years. And in all that time, it had only had 17 new heads and 14 new handles. Yeah. That's what I mean. All of those bands are still, according to my latest Wikipedia research, so debate the accuracy of that, I suppose. But as far as I can ascertain, these bands are all still getting up on their hind legs in front of audiences and purveying their music. And not one of them has, I don't think any of them have any of the original founding members left. But they're still out there kind of performing their music, keeping that music alive, playing it to new audiences. Dads who grew up listening to maybe an earlier incarnation of the band are taking their kids to go and see these concerts, and the music is being exposed to a younger generation, and it's keeping it alive. And what sort of brought this train of thought on is the whole kind of thing. If you've got to have been living under a rock to have not noticed any of the coverage and the footage of the Black Sabbath thing that's been going on lately. I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch any of it. I've been that busy kind of working basically. But I am going to catch up with as much of it as I can. And it's very much kind of the end of an era, and it's so kind of special because this is the last time that Black Sabbath are going to play these songs, and that begs the question: what's going to happen to that music? Is it in, say, 2, 3, 4 generations' time going to be forgotten about? Is it going to be something that has no relevance to, people in 100 years from now because there's no performances of it being played? I think that would be a massive shame. And, I think if we want music to survive, especially in the current climate, it has to be performed live. That is, as everybody knows that if you're a musician, you cannot live off the money that you earn from recording anymore. And put, I've got stuff up on Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, Apple Music, all over the place. I've had airplay on radio stations, even the BBC. It's let's just put it this way: it's I'm not going to be retiring on that income anytime soon. As a musician, what you do is you've got to be able to find another way of generating revenue. For me, it's tuition. Also, it's fortunate that I really love my job. I thought I started the tuition thing as a bit of sideline to sort of fill in between gigs, because income from kind of gigging was a bit sporadic, and I thought I need something more regular, so I started doing the lessons, and they gradually took over. And I really I wake up every morning and look forward to my day at work. But if it's not that, then, you know, the other route is obviously getting out there and playing in front of audiences and, you know, essentially, maybe a little bit unkind to say so, but becoming a T-shirt salesman, because merch is where you can really, you know, generate a big lump of your revenue. You know, so if this music isn't being performed, and the recording, like the sort of recorded playback of that music is, if that music isn't being exposed to younger generations, they're not going to be kind of seeking it out on Spotify or, you know, Deezer or wherever they stream their music from. And I worry about that. I worry that some of the greatest music of the second half of the 20th century is going to be, you know, marginalised and forgotten about. This is where I think tribute bands have an important role to play. And I'll just give a plug here for my favourite tribute band. I've seen them a few times, the Classic Rock Show. If they're gigging anywhere near you, go and see them. It's that sort of band that Pete Thorne is currently working with, amongst other things that he does. Seen them a couple of times, and dear me, I mean, it takes some cojones to get up and do the full version of Bohemian Rhapsody, including the operatic bit in the middle, that even Queen never used to do live, but the Classic Rock Show do it, and boy, do they nail it. So, in fact, search that out. In fact, no, don't search it out on YouTube. I'm going to put a link to that performance down below, because it just popped into my head that needs to be seen. So bands like that have a role to keep the music alive. But, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, the classical world, because, gosh, about 15 years, probably more ago, I decided that I was going to educate myself on classical music. It was, you know, it was force-fed to me at school, and I decided, you know, you rebel against that, don't you? And then I thought, as an adult, I thought, well, you know, I'm a musician, and there's a whole area of music that I'm willfully ignoring. So I just decided to check it out and you know, decide what I liked and what I didn't. And, you know, a lot of the great classical composers, classical, baroque, romantic era, we'll use classical as the catch-all term. A lot of those composers would perform their music live. You know, all of the names that you'll recognise: Beethoven, Mozart, Handel, Bach. You know, they all kind of played. They either conducted an orchestra playing their latest composition, or they would actually be one of the musicians. If it was like a piano symphony or whatever, then they would play the piano for that. They would be like the featured soloist. And the reason that music survived for centuries is because those performances continued long after the composers in question, you know, had shuffled off this mortal coil. So I think that, you know, like I was talking about those Triggers Broom bands earlier. I mean, Dr. Feelgood. There's, you know, that's just one of the what bands did I mention? Humble Pie, Thin Lizzy, Blackfoot, Molly Hatchet, Dr. Feelgood, Kansas, and Lynyrd Skynyrd. You know, they're all still out there, even though that there's few, if any, of the original members in those bands. And, you know, is it time to maybe go for some sort of franchise model for these bands? You know, where I think it's probably too late for Black Sabbath. But, you know, it's maybe not sort of, you know, just kind of start the band up again with all new members. But, you know, as people sort of, as a band member gets older or incapable of, you know, being able to tour anymore, then, you know, and some young blood comes into the band. They play all the old classic stuff, but they bring a few ideas with them as well. And, you know, maybe new material results in that. The Black Star Riders were basically that, weren't they? Or still are. You know, they sort of grew out of the revamped Thin Lizzy thing and started recording and writing new music, but out of respect for the legacy of the band, they called it Black Star Riders. And again, the lineup of that band has changed, but that's what I'm talking about. You know, kind of people retire and new people come in to fill that position, and you know, eventually you'll reach a point where, with many of those bands, there are none of the original members left, but the band still continues. The classic hits still get performed in front of new audiences, and the music survives as a result. So, as I said, this is just me thinking out loud, and I'd be really interested to know what your thoughts on this are. You know, do you think that bands should adopt this kind of revolving door, new people coming in, old guys retiring model to keep the music alive? Would a band that has none of its original members left, would it still be that band, or would it be a covers band? Would it have the same pull factor that you know, sort of the original founding lineup had? These are all questions that are just kind of buzzing around in my head, and I'm not sure where I stand on any of it, which is why I thought I'd do this little chat with you chaps and let me know what you think. But that is the video for today, folks. As I say, let me know what you think on this topic, and leave a comment down below. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. And of course, don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time, where we chat about this kind of stuff in many cases, and just enjoy a beer, and you know, it's beer and chat on a Friday. What's not to like? It's a great way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.